Now, we're staying on this issue. Adib Saani is here with me. He's the Executive Director of the Jatikay Center for Human Security and Peacebuilding. Good evening, grateful for your time with us. Let's start from Reginald, who was picked up by the police for displaying a placard. Was it necessary for the police to have picked him up?
Well, in the first place, there's absolutely nothing intrinsically or fundamentally wrong with any citizen of the country registering his displeasure over an issue. However, the manner in which it is done is what we should subject to some analysis. Indeed, it's not the first time. And as a security detail, there's absolutely nothing you can do about someone heckling a VVIP at any event. I mean, it happens the world over. Obama has been heckled several times, even the current president of the US, even Mwai Kibaki, when he was president of Kenya, at the point he had to leave a political party rally to go home with his wife because there's this heckler who wouldn't let them be. So it is very normal. But for me, I think the manner in which it was done exposes some security nightmares surrounding especially VVIPs in Ghana, because it is standard practice the world over. Anywhere a VVIP is going, in some cases you even have an advance team that goes there months in advance, as a matter of fact. But in Ghana, to what extent, how effective is the advance team is what we don't know. Usually they go there, make sure the proper security protocols and mechanisms are on the ground. They even inspect the chairs, they inspect the podium, they inspect the microphone, etc. And when they are at the scene, obviously, VVIPs, you cannot take them away from the people. When they go to such programs, they greet those in attendance, they greet the chiefs, they greet the other VIPs before they get to the podium. Okay, so you cannot completely detach them. However, it is important for the security detail to keep an eye on the people.
Those sitting down.
Yes, those sitting down. Every time, like I indicated, there's no way you can prevent someone from heckling a VVIP. However, the timely response is what is most important, okay? So you have to keep a close eye on the people. That's why it's important for effective communication amongst the security detail. Also, some of them wear dark glasses, not because of the fanciful part of it, but because they wouldn't want you to see where their eyes is looking at. So you would have to look at the disposition of the people, their body language. Sometimes criminals virtually wave at us, trying to draw our attention to the fact that they are up to something. But if you are not critical, if you are not observant, if you are not well trained, you wouldn't be able to tell, let alone the person get up from amongst the people, walk up to the First Lady. Indeed, he even stood there for some seconds before a police officer came and took him away. So for me, this is something that I find as a rude awakening. It shouldn't be allowed to repeat itself. I listened to a police spokesperson and she was trying to justify the security protocols put on the ground. But trust me, from a security analytical perspective, it is a security nightmare, and I don't hope it happens again.
She tried to suggest, I think the Accra Region Police Command PRO try to suggest that this is Ghana, so the laws are different. Is that the situation?
No, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I know protecting the First Lady is very important, and you have to put the right structures in place. For someone to leave the crowd with a placard, walk up to the First Lady, stand in front of the First Lady for some seconds, walk sideways before a police officer comes to escort him away is something I find very disturbing. We would have to revise the security protocol, especially around VVIPs in the country.
If that person had a gun or any weapon, it could have been disastrous.
That could have been disastrous. And do we subject those in attendance to any form of security checks anytime the president or the vice president goes to a rally of some sort? Because I know in other jurisdictions, usually they cordon the area off. Okay, and whoever is coming in is subjected to some level of security, at least metal detector checks. But do we do that? In the past, we had someone going into the church with the president and the then former president, John Mahama, with a gun. It took the timely intervention of some security officers for him to be fished out. What could have happened? So I know Ghana is relatively a peaceful country when you compare us to our neighbors. We don't have it happening very often, but we don't have to wait for it to happen before we start running helter-skelter looking for solutions.
Let's jump into the other issue. So he's tried all this while to conceal his identity, but some photographs are out purported to be the man who leads the Tiger Eye team. Indeed, you would say that it endangers his life, his family, and perhaps his close associates. Is that how you describe it? The releasing of his photographs?
Well, today I think Parliament of Ghana read through for the second time the Witness Protection Bill that Siraj has been extremely vociferous about. I mean, the need for us to pass that into law, because for years on end we have had a lot of civilians not feeling safe enough to give information to law enforcement. Indeed, we should also be mindful of the fact that many of the operations in Ghana is intelligence-led, from Operation Vanguard to Operation Calm Life, etc. And without valuable information from the people, you cannot do the work. Okay, that is why it's important to safeguard the identity. Okay, give some level of closure to those who give information to law enforcement. It could be journalists, they could be experts, etc. So for me, the release of the pictures is something I find very disturbing. Right. Whether those pictures are Anas's or not, they are obviously pictures of human beings. Okay, and it will endanger them in so many ways. So for me, this is very disturbing, and there's a need, like has been indicated by the Ghana Journalists Association, for the security agencies to quickly put into action the security protocols usually associated with someone whose identity has been blown. Right. Number one, the security detail who has been given to him, I understand his name has been mentioned by our Honorable Member of Parliament. He would have to be replaced if indeed that is his name. Quickly, we would have to change the address. We would have to vary his Anas's routine. Okay, if he uses the ring road every single day, he would have to vary it. We would have to quickly, perhaps in the interim, change the office address and make sure we double this number of security persons we have for him. Because, I mean, obviously, this is something that is going to endanger not just himself and his family members, if indeed the pictures that have been released are his.
What has happened today, does it portray the picture of the state of Ghana ready to protect citizens who, in one way or the other, are ready to help, to expose the ills of society? Does it give that picture of a state that is ready to protect citizens? No, I doubt. I really strongly doubt. Because this is not the first time something like this is happening. We've had my mentor, Dr. Kwesi Enin, whose life has been threatened, according to him, for saying certain things that is not going down well with certain people in Ghana. We've had people like Franklin Kujo, who I understand has also been threatened. Anas, indeed, has stepped on so many big toes, and it would not be surprising for me to have people seeking his head. So in the past, the mechanisms, the structures we've had has not been very encouraging. And it's always served as a disincentive, as a deterrence to people who have information and would want to divulge it to the security agencies. Indeed, let us not forget about the fact that these criminal elements live with the people in the society. They know them, they better understand their modus operandi than even law enforcement. So for people not to have the motivation to bring forth information is something that should prick our attention, and that we really need to, as a matter of national security agency, give priority to. For Ghana, I mean, to come all this way without a witness protection law is something I find very disturbing. I hope that it's expedited. I'm grateful, Adib Saani, for your time with us in the studio here. And we've been talking about issues of security there. Sechi Brown, Regional Sechi Brown, Anas, Armio Anas, the GGA asking that they be protected, particularly Anas, Armio Anas. Adib Saani is Executive Director of the Jatikay Center for Human Security and Peacebuilding. Grateful for your time once again. Let's step on the brakes for now. When we come back, there is more on the show.